The Marcia week show. It's the Marcia week show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia week show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia week show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey! We growing, we know it.
Barbados, I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. My sweet Barbados. Even if they try to kill me with tax, I ain't leaving. Even if brown water still flowing through St. Lucie tax. Even if we still got potholes galore, I ain't leaving. Even if the government took it out the eyes of the poor, I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. Oh yeah. No way. these years our beacon shone bright. In the Caribbean, Barbados is the light. One thing nobody can debate, that we fighting strong and punching above the weight. The whole Caribbean came looking to get ahead, but when we was feeling pain, them run and left we for dead. But blue, yellow and black running through me veins. So for better or worse, I will always remain. I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving my sweet Barbados. I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving my sweet Barbados. Even if the crime went out hand, I ain't leaving. Even if the young men playing cowboy and Indian, look, even if I can't buy piece of this rock, I ain't leaving. Even if the Trinidadies and the Chinese will never respond, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, okay. No way, I say, I ain't leaving, okay. Whoa, no way. Come on now. As we look back in our history, we must thank Jehovah for always guiding we. Some countries have enough poverty, but my Barbados is blessed with plenty. I don't plan to beg for you to stay with me, but we all must have some pride in our beautiful country. In the Middle East, them fighting for them lives. So why the hell should I leave my peaceful paradise? I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving my sweet Barbados. I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving my sweet Barbados. Even if we lack transparency, I ain't leaving. Even if there's no hope of finding missing money, even if we have no opposition, I ain't leaving. Cause we have the best Prime Minister in the region. I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, I ain't leaving, okay. No way, I say, I ain't leaving, okay. No way.
Good night, lovely people, loyal opposition. This is the Marcia Weeks show, and we're coming to you live from the island Barbados, gem of the Caribbean. And as you heard the sayer, we ain't leaving boat here. We ain't leaving sweet Barbados. I am your host tonight, Caroline Rock. I'm standing in for a little bit for our usual host, Dr. Ferdinand. And tonight, as usual, as always, we have a packed program for you. So I want you to like and share as we usually do, and let everyone know that we are on the ear. We are on the ear. And of course, Gospel Fest is coming up, and we implore all of you as much as is possible to get involved, to get out there, enjoy yourself, and be blessed. Tonight, as usual, we have our program, and as usual, we ask the hard questions. We ask the hard questions tonight, as usual. Are we sleepwalking into a new society? And tonight we have as our guest coming up, we will highlight, we have our Maxine McClean. She's coming and she will speak about violence, drugs, and our young people. Then we have yours truly, and I will be speaking about our borders. They're now open? That's a question. And then we will have our Apostle Scantlebury. He is going to come and he is going to be talking about the digital ID and the 2030 agenda. But as usual on the show, we will educate, motivate, mobilize, and agitate. Emma, let's not forget that. That's the aim of this show, to educate, to motivate, to mobilize, and to agitate. But before I go any further, I would love to greet some of you. I'm going to say good night, Mavis Lashley. Welcome to the show. We have Shirley. Welcome to the show as well. I'm a big girl. Yes, you are there, and therefore I don't feel alone when I see the usual persons there to assist me tonight. We are going to do this. You're going to co-host with me tonight until Dr. Ferdinand gets here. So I say good night to all of you that are here. Like and share the show. We are going to have a great time. We're asking the hard questions as usual. We're asking the hard questions. I say good night to Cami, Jane 3KW. Blessed Sabbath to you also. Good night to all of you on the show. Continue to like and share, as together I host and you co-host with me. There's Mavis Lashley. She's here as usual. And Sonia Perch, good night to you. I greet all of you tonight, loyal opposition. Nice to see you on the show as usual. It's good to see you on the show. And we go on the radar even now, and we give you a tidbit of it. As you will know, there have been the latest killing in Barbados. That's on the downside. One more person is dead. There's another family, their family and friends and children are grieving. But Dave, I want you to put that video up. There's a flip side to it. Whilst there has been a shooting, we had children. We had our children in the society raising their voices. Let's play that video for all to see, Dave.
We want peace. 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 Stop crime and violence. Stop crime and violence. Stop crime and violence. Stop crime and violence. We want peace. 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 Louder. We want peace. We want peace.
And I'm sure you would agree, these children, they are amazing. On one hand, we have the sad news of another killing. And right here in Barbados, on the positive side, we have our children in the street. And what are they saying? We want peace. We want peace. The little children. And it's a true saying that it is written, a little child shall lead them. And I encourage us to sing the song that the children are saying. We want peace. We want peace in Barbados. Yes, 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 we need peace. And we, applaud those little children. And we hope that their voices would be heard. That's what we want in Barbados. So, all is not lost. All is not lost. We are advocating for peace in Barbados. Yes, peace in Barbados. We continue, on the radar. We mentioned the latest killing, and we mentioned the positive of our children calling for peace. I hope that those relevant persons will listen to the children crying in the streets for peace. Well, we want to go now, to the outer world on the radar. And we have an article where Kenya's High Court suspends proposed U.S. Ebola facility. Did any of you read that article? Have any of you heard of it? Any of you heard of this article where in Kenya a high court suspends a proposed U.S. facility in Kenya? And it is said that, and this is, I read the BBC report by Wycliffe and Akiza, which says the Kenyan court stalls U.S. plans to open up Ebola quarantine facility for American citizens. Listen to this. America wants to open a facility in Kenya. Can you believe that? In other words, they are saying, we are going to give you, and this is what the article would have said, they're proposing 13.5 million in aid to the Kenyan government. And they are going to build a facility, and any American person who is suspected of being exposed to Ebola, they're going to send them, or who catches Ebola, they're going to send them to this facility. You can't come home to America. You're going to a facility in Kenya. And oh boy, there is a big uproar there. there was a high court order that this had to be stopped, pending further investigation. They're calling on the government to be transparent, to come out and say what is going on. There are fears of, people coming into the country, a country that does not have anyone in it with the Ebola virus, and they are now transporting U.S. citizens into this facility. It's like transporting the virus into Kenya. And the persons are not having it. They're not having it. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? This is what is happening. So there seems to be great fear. Everyone wants to avoid Ebola. Everybody wants to avoid anything to do with it. The U.S. has gone to the extent to say, well, we are going to set up a facility. And the Kenyans want to know, why are you coming to our country? Why are you coming to Kenya to set up this facility? Why can't you do it? And they, of course, they claim Kenya is close to the areas, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and those persons, and Uganda, those persons, places that have the virus. So we want somewhere that is close for this facility, so that our citizens can get the necessary help, as quickly as possible. No, the Kenyans said, no, not about here, not about here. We need an investigation. They went to high court and they stop it. No. Let us find out what is going on. Let us find out what is going on. We don't have enough facility to sustain this virus if it breaks out in Kenya. We don't have this. Why are the USA? Why are they selecting us? And those people are not having it. They're asking the hard questions of their government, and they were successful at having carrying the injunction and having it stopped until further inquiry. Lord, opposition, this is serious. This is serious. This is serious. And I hope that here in Barbados, we take it in the same serious way. That's why you were asking questions. That's why you were asking questions when that flight came in. Who are they? Where did they come from? You were asking questions, relevant questions. And the Kenyans are not having it. No, you keep your $13.5 million. Hold it. We have some questions. Why Kenya? Why are you bringing them here? No. We don't have any Ebola down here. Why are you transporting it into our country? And they are standing for their rights. And they're asking the hard questions. And that's what we are asking here tonight as well. That's what we're going to ask in Barbados as well. The flight that came in, we ask hard questions. We're not stirring up trouble. We are asking questions. Who were they? Do we have the necessary screening equipment? Are we having things in place? And I saw that the Ministry of Health and the minister, they would have said recently they've put things in place. The Minister of Health and Wellness, Senator Lisa Cummins, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Kenneth George, he said that, here's what they said: the risk of Ebola reaching the island remains low. But we know how COVID went. And we know that everything is connected. But they are saying that be calm. You're telling Barbados, be calm. We're enforcing Ebola monitoring and travel screening systems. That's what we are being told. And I hope this is so. But nevertheless, we will hold the feet to the fire. This is serious business. And we cannot slip up. We cannot slip up. We will ask the hard questions. Because we are just 166 square miles. And we want to be sure that we are not infected unnecessarily. We want to do everything within our control with this Ebola virus. And if the Kenyans are complaining, no, you can't pay us enough money to have this facility set up, we want to make sure that we are safe. Barbadians have the same rights. We have to ensure that we are safe. That's why you will get the hard questions on the Marcia Week show. We are ensuring that we are kept as safe as we can. We are doing everything possible. And when we see something that doesn't look right, we are going to speak out. We're going to speak out as long as we know it. So we're going to agitate. We're going to educate. Yes, we're going to agitate, mobilize. We are going to do it on the Marcia Weeks show. We ask hard questions, not because we want to do it. There's no opposition and loyal opposition. We stand in place. We stand in place and we represent. We represent. And we're not backing down. No. We're not backing down. Barbados deserves the best. And we're going to ensure as much as possible that we get the best that we deserve. So we are the loyal opposition. Stand in place, stand firm. Stand firm. And as I said, tonight we have a pack. We have a pack program as usual. And our Maxine McClean, she's going to come at 7:30 and she's going to be speaking about violence, drugs, and our young people. And she going to be asking the question, why are some young people becoming increasingly comfortable with violence? That's a question. That's a hard question. So she is going to explain it to us. And we're going to discuss it tonight. And then I'm going to come with our borders open. We want to know. We want to know. And we're going to be asking the question, how open should Barbados be? And we're going to come again, Apostle Scantlebury. By then, Dr. Ferdinand will be in, and myself, and we are going to talk about the digital ID and the 2030 agenda. And we are asking, is it convenience or control? So we are going to ask some hard questions tonight. Some hard questions. And then we're going to be talking about the data centers, the global backlash. We're gonna have that. Then we have Shine Barbados coming in. We're gonna have the young men, Ramon, Goodman, and Jamal, Sandiford, and they are going to come on as well. So as I said, we have a packed program tonight. So like and share. And put your questions in the chat as we usually do. We are the loyal opposition. And we ask the hard questions. I see my first guest there. Give me a wave if you're ready to come in. Yes, you are ready. Dave, can you? Yes.
Hi, good evening. How are you,
Dave,
Carolyn?
thank you and welcome to the Marcia Reed Show.
Thank
It's
you very
good
much. And I
seeing
have to
you.
say to Marcia that she has a pool of talent on which to draw. And I know that you had to jump in the hot seat at short notice because we were
Yes,
expecting Pastor Ferdinand. And as you said, he will join us later on. And I am coming on early because I also have to hop off to do a Zoom meeting at 8:30. But you've started on one of the many issues that we are facing. And we did have a conversation, and I had a chance to speak about Ebola because we had to deal with this back in 2014. But beyond the what I call the external threats that we are facing, we have a situation which really is a crisis as far as I'm concerned. This is your good night to Beverly Prescott. This is your domain when we talk about behaviors and so on. If I understand correctly, your background and your areas of work and interest and so on. Because again, I was with a group of young men actually, and a mentor of theirs doing some very interesting work this morning. And while meeting with these gentlemen, I heard of in fact, on my way to meet with them, I heard of another murder, of a shooting. And of course, when you hear of a shooting, it's almost inevitable that there's a death or extremely serious injury. Now, what is particularly perplexing is the fact that both victims and perpetrators in significant numbers are young people, sometimes minors. In fact, we just had some other violence where about 6 persons or so, I don't remember the exact number. If I'm wrong, you can correct me, were charged, including minors.
Yes.
And the question is, what is happening? And this is the question we have to ask. What is happening to our young people? Because we're seeing so many young men charged with murder, but we're also seeing a level of violence among girls and young women and even older women that makes me ask the question, have the authorities, because there has been a burgeoning in this. I mean, people say, oh yes, we had violence at school, we had, but we didn't have cell phones to videotape. I don't think that is really the only explanation for the prevalence of the incidents that we are seeing. I think it is much more than that. I mean, I believe that we have never seen this kind of violence in this country before. We have never seen.
Miss McClean, not only the young men, but the little children.
That is right.
The little children. They are exhibiting these same behaviors, and it is almost frightening of what will they become should they continue with these behaviors. What will they become when they get to a certain age? 4-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they're exhibiting.
Being abusive, being violent. But you see, they are mirroring what they see happening around them. Because think about it. If a child is living in a community or in a household, a neighborhood, on a street where they're hearing cursing, violent threats, people making, I can't even say making good, but acting out, because making good, the good is too positive a word in that instance. Acting out or acting on threats of violence. Somebody sent me a video recently and I opened it and I shared it with somebody. I think I sent it to Marcia, and she responded and said, I simply cannot watch these anymore, because when I shared it with her, it is not to circulate for people to gawk, but to share. Here is another instance of something that we will have to touch on. And you ask yourself, when adults behave like this, aren't they not desensitizing children? I vividly recall, I live across the street from West Terrace Primary School. And I remember they were having the sports, and I can stay in my house and I can hear the children cheering and, activities going on. And then in the middle of all of that, what I would call happy noise, I heard a whole crescendo of cursing. Now, this wasn't at the school. This was a house or two away from me in the street. And when I looked out and I walked away from my window. These were women with children. Now, West Terrace is a primary school. And these, I don't know what happened. I don't know if a vehicle passed and it almost brushed somebody or what it was, because I didn't hear exactly what happened. But these women were cursing in the worst way and threatening violence on whoever the anger was directed towards. And I'm saying to myself, here are these little children looking on. Some of them were looking bewildered. And I'm asking myself, these must be parents or relatives, caretakers or whatever, or older siblings, but they look more like parents because of it's primary school and, the estimated age of the adults. And I'm saying they are conditioning those children to behave in a particular kind of way. And don't they understand the damage that they are doing to their children? Now, that is language, that is behaviors. And one of the behaviors that we also have to touch on, because as I watch the level of violence, you mentioned little children. When I was we went to school at 5, but when I was a little girl, you dared not let an adult hear you use bad words, as we used to call them. But now you have a situation where even primary school children cannot speak. Some of them, I shouldn't say primary, some children cannot speak 10 words without some of them being filthy language. And this is and because you hear the adults, and it is, as I said, it is a crisis. We talk about the Ebola epidemic and crisis. We have a crisis that we have to deal with. And the question is, what is it that is feeding into this apart? Because as I said just now, behaviors, we have people who are expressing themselves or failing to express themselves, failing to demonstrate the ability to negotiate situations of anger, of fear, of whatever the case may be, of expressing different opinions. People who seem to be sufficiently insecure that they must respond to every situation in a very violent and aggressive and negative way. But on top of all of that, and I went back last week or so, I was doing some reading to look at a phenomenon that we are facing, and that is the increasing use of drugs, and the increasing use of drugs in a very public way. I remember last week, and we didn't get around to talking about it because, as you would know with the program, things are so dynamic that sometimes you change focus. But you remember that there was this discussion about whether the police actually had to come out and make the point that marijuana smoking is not legal. That, we have had the legalization or the legislation allowing the use of medicinal marijuana for medicinal purposes, but recreational use of marijuana, because I don't know that there's a difference. There's that whole discussion of what constitutes medicinal marijuana, and is it any different from what is used for recreational purposes and so on. But we're not going to go there. We're just going to use the two terms, or the use of marijuana for medical purposes and then for recreational purposes. And so when it's the whole question of decriminalizing as opposed to legalizing, people have walked away with this notion that, how is it, 14 grams or whatever the quantity is, if I have that. Now, as far as I know, no police officer walks around with a scale, And so the question really and truly is, how do you establish to somebody that you consider to be an offender or a potential offender, how do you establish that he or she is beyond this limit? But of course, they were reminded that, this because it is decriminalized, there are penalties and so on. But as a result of that, we have another situation here, that in the same way that children are exposed to the foulest of language in everyday speech, they are being exposed on an ongoing basis to the smoking of marijuana. And the interesting thing is, I remember as a child and as a teenager, the incidence of cigarette smoking in Barbados was higher than it is now. And my father used to chain smoke. He actually would have said to us, and I experienced it, that he chain smoked for about 60 years. And then one day his body said, look, I had enough of this foolishness, because it wasn't, and I think he got ill and he stopped smoking, or he stopped smoking and he got ill for a little while. But his body just, I think, rejected it. But because of that, his children didn't smoke. It was irritating, growing up and so on, to have somebody chain smoking and so on. But I saw, and I think advertising, etc., I saw over my childhood to young adulthood a significant reduction in smoking, the incidence of smoking in Barbados. What we are seeing now is a rise in the public smoking, and I don't think it is just that people have stepped out into the public. I think there has become the situation has become one in which younger people have accepted or have decided that there's not much wrong with marijuana smoking.
Miss McClean, I think that there lies one of our biggest problems, where before we had everything was black or white. Now we have all of the various shades. We have gray and whatever. You were told before, this is either wrong or this is either right. Now we feel to say what is wrong and what is right. We tell people, we water down things. We water things down. And therefore, right now, I don't believe that children even are clear on whether marijuana is good, whether it is bad, whether there are good parts or bad parts. All they know, and from the time they hear, as a matter of fact, in their heads, it is a certain amount has been legalized. And therefore, we can use it. We are free to do it. Whoa, the government has legalized this thing. That's all they have taken away. The fine print. No, they don't know, and nobody chooses to tell them. And therefore, everyone, and then when you have very small children, I would say from a psychological background, when very small children at the ages of, I would say some people are even exposed at an earlier stage, because the after smoke can be worse than the actual smoking. So when daddy or mommy or uncle or someone goes outside, they might not do it in front of the child, but they go outside and it blows back in the house. And
So
the
you
child
see,
is inhaling it. And therefore, it is affecting the brain from an early stage. The brain does not develop now the way it ought to. So we have lots of children coming up where their brains have not been developing in the way that it ought to. So then we now try to scratch our heads. What is happening with our children? But there lies, one of the situations.
that is absolutely the case. In fact, because I'm on the road on mornings, and I see children, and I live in areas where there are a couple schools and so on, and I observe children on mornings and evenings moving around, especially I focus a lot on the secondary school children. But you can look at their lips, for example, sometimes, and tell that they're smoking.
Yes.
And you just there's so I and I don't think it is my imagination. You watch them, and there's certain attitude. But I tell you these when you hear the national substance abuse, they run their promos and so on, trying to educational programs, etc., to look for behavioral change in your children, etc. And this is what you're seeing now. What Dave has just put up there is another situation where outside of marijuana, people are using other kinds of, this is ecstasy, for example.
Yes.
Now look at those. Remember, as children, we used to get gummy bears and
yes.
and then there was a sweet nut of gum, but more looking like this, which was a candy, yes, kind of
candy, yes,
a sugary kind of icing looking type of thing. And so this looks nice and innocent.
So
and
a parent who does not know, targeted.
Who does not know will see a child come home with this and figure that, that was some sweet in his or her ignorance, not knowing what the child has. Now, of course, the intention here is to addict children from early.
From early, yes.
And this is it. I mean, people start to, as USA Z22V is saying, lots of smokers start smoking out of socializing. I mean, I think I might have admitted publicly when I was a first year student on campus. As I said, my dad was a smoker, and I decided I was going to take up some of his cigarette. It was the nastiest tasting thing that I have ever tried, and I couldn't put it back because it was open. And unfortunately, I took it and gave it to a classmate of mine. He used to smoke. He was happy to get. But I was encouraging him to do damage. But the truth is, that is what happens. You start these things, and before you know it, you find yourself in danger. And I can speak of a relative of mine. I remember saying to this young man at the time he was about 19, I can see that you are smoking. And I was told I can take care of myself. But what he did not anticipate, that was somebody who's going to put crack cocaine in the marijuana. And I can say to you, almost 50 years later, that person has never been the same again.
Yes.
And this is it. I mean, you might have felt that I understand how drugs work, and I can control my consumption.
Yes, that's what we say.
But if you do not know what you are getting, you are exposing yourself to danger. Now, there, as you said, there are a lot of questions that we can ask about this, because I was speaking to a relative who is a pediatrician, and I was asking the question whether there is any, because I again, by observation, I was observing a youngster. The person is now a young adult But I observed this child whose parents I knew to be heavy users of marijuana. And I observed this child's behaviors. It may have been coincidental, it might have been connected, but I was asking the question, has anybody done any studies on children born of a person or persons, a mother or a mother and father who are heavy consumers? I know, for example,
Yes.
having to speak to a neighbor's sister who was pregnant and smoking cigarettes. And I said to her, do you know that, this is years ago, I said, do you know that there are studies which show that what you are doing can or will harm the fetus and ultimately harm your baby? And my question, and the same thing with alcohol.
Yes.
Are we studying this in other kinds of recreational drugs? And you know, how does it impact them? I've been trying to find this study, but I came across a newspaper article some time ago, and I know I printed it out. In Jamaica, soon after there was this decriminalizing, because you know, in Jamaica, marijuana has been, ganja as they call it, has been used much more openly for longer time than other parts of the Caribbean, let's say it. But what they found, that younger children were, the use among younger children was increasing. And a point that you made earlier was that here you have a situation where the establishing that was having a negative impact because these younger children, their brains are not fully developed,
Yes.
and so on. And so my question to the authorities, are we at any, and this is to the university researchers, etc., whether it's in the medical faculty, in other areas of research, are we attempting to study what is happening, you know, as in terms of our children? And something else, and I don't know if this is done or can be done legally, but with the recent increase in juveniles charged with murder and young people, when these persons are incarcerated, for example, whether it is on remand or sentence, having been found guilty, are any medicals done to establish the status, the health status of those persons? And part of that, whether there is any, in the process of doing it, I'm not talking about any invasive, you know, activities or in terms of interventions, that's probably the word, medical interventions. But is there any record of whether these young persons have been abusing substances, and if so, what? And do we have any sense of how long that has been, for want of a better word, how long have, because I'm trying to understand whether there is any, and you can probably help me here, is there any value to studying and understanding what is happening to these young people? In other words, what might be some of the contributing factors to the level of extreme violence that we are seeing that would cause or lead not necessarily, well, lead a young man or boy to commit murder? In other words, are there physical changes brought on by drug abuse, for example, that may allow them to do something that they otherwise might not?
No, there are studies out there. It's amazing that there are studies out there. There are studies that would say what substance abuse would do to the minds, and specifically to the minds of the children. There are studies out there. But what is deafening or what is mind-boggling is that the reports and the information does not get to the children. They do not, they do not know. And when I say that they do not know until it is too late, when they are already involved. I believe that this should be taught somewhere in the school. But again, as I said, we ask the hard question: why aren't our children taught? Is it because someone is getting rich out of this? And therefore, if we educate the population, that it would affect the dollars of someone, because the research is there, the information is there, it is just not reaching our children. And when you see children, when you really get the opportunity, and these are children in secondary school, it is almost too late at that stage. That there is like their mind is like a vacuum in there, where the mind and the the rationale and the reasoning, that's what I'm saying. And they are therefore just like tools to be used in the hands of other people. you know you see young children being easily led astray because of the state of mind. Whatever they are told, they run with.
And that is, and that is one of the things. Why are we using that propensity to respond to do the positive? Because in essence, they're going to run if they're told. They're not told to avoid drugs, or they're not told, because I remember they used to have this thing, say no to drugs. Now, people who know me would hear me say, I like to craft messages in the positive. So in other words, why is it that we are not doing more to educate our little children who are, you anybody who dealt with a child would know our teacher. Remember, my teacher tells me as a 4 or 5 year old, as the baby, so you can sing him a tune. It is going to be, my teacher told me this is it, and that is where they are. So in essence, why leave the mind empty to be overly influenced by the negative, when in fact we can spend more time reinforcing this? And it doesn't have to come in a concentrated course. Children are learning to read. Why can't we develop materials that would help them to learn to read about respecting your body in terms of nutrition and the damage that drugs can do, and stories? We can do it in a cross section of courses where you infuse certain positive messages reinforcing the importance of avoiding certain substances, etc. And it, as you said, the question is, why not? Why aren't we doing more?
Yes. Why aren't we? Who is profiting from it? You understand that alcohol abuse produces violent and aggressive people. Yeah, you understand that. So we have moved away from the alcohol, and we were very good at advertising. Don't use a lot of alcohol, and we're good because we don't want the people. Somebody does not want the people violent and aggressive.
Well, some will probably, as you say, drink responsibly.
Right. But we do have the ads, and everything else. But on the other hand, no, marijuana and perhaps other drugs, marijuana would leave persons docile. Oh yeah, man, everything cool. We good. How you doing? They don't want to work.
I was going to say, how does it affect productivity? This is, and it does. I can tell you that I have seen, because I'm a beach goer, for the last 20 plus years, I've been going to the beach on mornings. And one of the things I noticed, I've had to pass construction sites, people often start working 7 and so on, so that by the time you go to the beach or you're leaving the beach at 9 o'clock, some people may be taking breaks. And I have seen in recent years, because young men sitting and the smell of marijuana hitting us in the water or as we walk by. And my question is, when you get so mellow, if that's how you react,
Yes, yes.
how safe are you as a work colleague, or what dangers otherwise that you might be put in? Because if I'm in, I've never tried it, so I don't know. I mean, I remember studying in America and people could not understand, you're from the Caribbean and you've never smoked marijuana. And I say, well, everybody don't sit down on a coconut tree smoking marijuana. In fact, I don't know if anybody does, because they may get coconut in your head. But it. But these are it. It is something that concerns me, because I have seen the extreme. The other thing is, some people have some extreme reactions to in the same way to marijuana.
Yes.
I remember, again, I went some years ago. I was in Ireland and I was reading a newspaper, and this doctor was writing about his son who had gone off to college, university, and got him. You get into a group and you're having fun, and you start, as somebody posted there, you're socializing, a recreational thing, and you start, and the guy had a total psychotic break. And that was the end of him and his university ambitions and his father's dreams for his son to do whatever it is he probably was thinking of doing. So for me, Carolyn, the thing is, and I asked the question, outside of, or consistent with what has happened in other places, are we doing studies not only to get information on attitudes? Because I was looking at studies going back 2015, study done last year 2025, some going back as far as 2005 and so on, looking at use and so on. But are we doing any research to understand exactly what is happening to users, and more importantly, abusers? Because the abuse, we talk about alcohol consumption, but we also speak of the abuse of alcohol, and these drugs and so on, especially among our children, and where we see a level of violence that we have never seen before. Are we making an attempt to understand what factors? And notice, for anybody who may want to jump aboard me, I'm not speaking only of one factor, that is marijuana use or other illicit drug use, but what factors are contributing to a situation where we in Barbados, as a very small society, we are seeing a level of violence and violent crime, and particularly assault, murder, or serious bodily harm, that we have never seen before, to see if there is any link, to see if there's any physiological change in people, in their mental states, their whole perception of what about violence. And because something has to help us to understand, because unless we understand, we cannot do. No, somebody is saying, when you want to see them smoking weed, they attack you. All they don't attack you, but I have seen, and this is where I'm asking the question, it's not about attacking me. It is not necessarily physical violence, Pedro. It is also about understanding what it does to the individual, either his or her mental state, because we were talking about working and so on. So I am not coming down one way. I am simply saying we have to study what is happening. Yes. And one element there is the increasing prevalence of the use of marijuana. I can say this to you. I know of a young Barbadian a couple years ago left here at the time when recreational marijuana use was legalized in North America. And in speaking to one of that individual's parents, I was told that the person had to come back home because you see the availability of it. I mean, I don't know if there were, if the frequency, the potency of the particular variety of it, but it caused the individual, the young person, to get very ill and had to come back home, abandon studies. I trust that things have settled down and the person is back to where they were. So I am not being judgmental. I am seeing a phenomenon where I've shared the example of a relative of mine who was a teenager and whose age difference between me and that person is about 7 years, which makes that person over 60 years now. And I can tell you, after like at 22, there was a life changing moment where, and that person has never been the same again. Tried and as I said, it was not only marijuana, they call it blackies. I think they call it when they put crack cocaine in it. But the point I use that to illustrate the danger of smoking substances that you have no control or clear knowledge of what you're getting. So
And then what one thing leads to the other. One thing leads to the other. You might start with marijuana, then you go on to something else, and then it's a mixture, and all of them have their side effects. And you start with something mild, and marijuana might be mild, might be easiest to get, and then you go on to the higher stuff.
The
more dangerous kinds. And by the time you get there, your brain is so messed up that in fact you don't even get any information on it until it is too late. Sometimes when we realize or do something about a person, that child that is on drugs, when they take a gun and shoot somebody, then we start to go back into their history. When it is there all along, perhaps from the primary school and the secondary school, it is there. No intervention, none, or little.
I'm trying to understand this comment here from USA. The same gadget you're holding has the knowledge to open up your minds. I wasn't sure if that was a response to something else, but I think what we are trying to do, because I am conscious that we are probably getting close. I don't know if when you will signal to me when we are joined by Pastor Ferdinand. Until then, I will
see him as
yet. I will stay here with you because I have, as I said, at 8:30. But but to me, what we are trying to do here, for me, in raising this, is that we cannot simply, as citizens, as people, as parents, as young adults, as older people, just accept things as they go along without questioning them, without trying to understand phenomenon, without touching on issues. Because in the same way, I grew up, as I tell people, 2 houses from a rum shop. There was, between my house and the rum shop was another house. So that, I guess that's 1 house away, because the rum shop would have been second building. And I could almost predict on Friday nights, certain men would come there, and before the night was done, they were totally drunk and disorderly. And apart from wasting their weekly wage, they had lost control of themselves. And I could not see that there was any thing positive come from there. I remember one fellow just literally fall in the gutter because remember, we used to have open gutters at one time.
Yes.
And so it is to understand what is happening. Because if you fall because you are so drunk, you can actually injure yourself and cause a permanent disability,
Yes.
mental or physical. So I think at the end, we are seeing some behavioral changes in Barbados, particularly among children and young adults. And it is not it is not something they're just picking up on television or on the internet or whatever. The question is, what is happening that is impacting on them physically and mentally, that we may be able to identify and seek to prevent a similar situation in others, to do some kind of remediation, to get them back to a position. Because in all of this, we cannot isolate issues from each other. We have issues of productivity, of unemployment, and then you hear up to today, I was hearing somebody say, but a lot of these people don't want jobs. Now, is it that they don't want jobs because they don't think that the jobs that are available pay them what they feel they should be earning, which may not necessarily be a realistic expectation, or is it that they are not of a mindset that will allow them to go and sit down on a job for 8 hours a day, 5 days or 6 days a week for the next 5 years? So in essence, sorry, go ahead.
It may not be that you don't want the job. It may be that you can't keep the job. Now, if you are addicted to a substance, your body, your brain is going to call for that substance.
True.
At probably specific times, because it will wear off.
That's right.
So let's say, okay, I will take St. Lucie. You live in St. Lucie, so it will take probably 2 hours to get to town from St. Lucie. So you'd have to, get your fix about 6 o'clock, because you got to go to work for 8 o'clock. 2 hours. But that fix may only last till 11 o'clock. I'm not sure. So you are on the job.
Yes,
and
right.
You need to get that fix. So your body is now your body goes into, there's some things that will happen if you don't get top up in time.
That's right.
And you dare not stick around anyone. You're going to disappear. You are going to disappear from off of that job because you have to go and get that fix. No employer is going to, keep you if you keep disappearing.
That is true.
So we might sit back and say, oh, they don't want any job, but maybe they don't want to go because they know the state that they are in, and that it will affect the job, and so they stay, and so they may stay away. That may be a cause as well. But we just yeah.
No, you're correct, because the other thing that people complain about, whether it's sometimes people work in the agricultural sector and construction and so on, that a young person will come and you say, okay, I can offer you a job. And they come to work and they work okay first day, second day, third day. And then they're kind of like, okay, they get paid and then they disappear. You don't see them on day 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And you can't function like that. And when you ask the person, but who is this person? They tell you straight. They figure they want enough money to go and get a fix and move on. And when that money runs out, they'll go somewhere else and get enough to keep them going. So you know, a lot of this is anecdotal, but this is what I'm saying. We need to start studying, because when we start to talk about policy formulation and programs and so on, these things must be informed by
Yes.
solid research and solid empirical evidence.
We're not here speaking about weed or any particular one drug. We're not knocking any. We're speaking about substance abuse here. This is where you
Exactly.
get the cage where now you are abusing it. You obviously cannot handle it. You are out of control. So I don't want us to think that we are knocking weed, because, as some people say, it has medicinal values and, you know, all of these different things. So we're not knocking that. We are speaking about substance abuse, and we are speaking about people saying these people don't want any work. They want work. They want work, but
Under their terms and conditions.
they cannot handle it, because at lunchtime they go probably and get their fix, and they're not coming back on time, or they're not getting up early enough in the morning to get to work early. So the work ethics, you know, there is not there. So they have to drop out. And after a while, they go from job to job, and they're dropping out. They have a reputation, and eventually you can look at them when they come for the job and see, look, this person. You know,
I just want to react. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to react to reinforce the point you're making.
yes.
Nobody is putting anybody in a particular category.
No.
What we are saying applies to. I taught at the university for 17 and a half years full time. And I remember the son of a prominent Bajan back. I'm talking about, I was a student, and this goes back to my days as a student. I was a student at KFL between 1974 and 1978. And I remember this student missing an exam. And you know, when they found him, he was knocked out. He used to smoke herb, as they call it back then. And he was so high that he was in a a classroom, sleeping, that he didn't even know the day where the exam come and went. And we're not putting in one category. We are looking at the extremes
Yes.
of the consequences.
Substance abuse.
Because you see, if we pretend that it doesn't happen, and this is something that often happens to people who use recreational drugs, whether the drug is wine. I remember the other day, somebody saw me enjoying myself, and the person was like, and I was drinking wine. So the person was like, "You are drunk?" I said, "No, I don't get drunk. But you saw me enjoying myself. If I am in a front of classroom, I won't be dancing. But if you see me in a party, I will dance because I like to dance." But the issue there was, this person had a certain image of who I am. So they may see me speaking, and as I always joke with my son, because he always tells me I look serious. I say, well, my resting face is a vexed face, according to how you describe it. But no, in all seriousness, we are not condemning whatever. We are talking about substance abuse. Now, if, as much as I will drink wine, and I do, if I were to abuse it, then I have a problem.
Yes.
If I used to smoke cigarettes and I overdid it, then there's a problem.
Yes.
What we have in Barbados right now is a situation where there is constant smoking of marijuana, and it's noticeable because it has a smell. And unfortunately, like cigarette smoking, side stream smoke can impact on other parties. And I have said it, I have been in my house and have had to deal with marijuana smells coming into my house. And it wasn't somebody at me smoking marijuana. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I think that and the thing is, I can also share this. I know a former public officer who would have been responsible. Government burns drugs after a time. And the person had to be present. And every time they had a burning, that person used to go home feeling sick. And it was because of the nature of what they were burning. I don't know that people don't have to get defensive. I mean, they don't get defensive if we talk about alcoholics, because we know what we have seen people abusing alcohol, and we've seen what it does to them, to their behaviors, to their physical appearance, and all of these things, to their health. So we're simply saying that as we look at issues in Barbados, particularly crime and violence, where there was a time when there seemed to be a decline, certainly in terms of cigarette smoking, etc. We have seen a phenomenon of an increase in marijuana and other recreational drug use. And for me, the reason why I'm raising that in this context, Carolyn, I need to remind these folks who may be challenging in an indirect way why we're looking at this, is as we seek to understand the genesis of certain behaviors, is there any room for us to explore whether the abuse of some of these substances are one of possible contributory factors, plural? We're not saying it is this or that, Well, Sharon, her great kid gets lots of wine, but I might get lots of rum because great kid without that is not quite the same. I know Carolyn may not agree with me, but that's all right.
You sure with that?
But again, if I use the excuse to eat a lot of great cake and drown it in rum as a means of getting my rum, then I might be abusing the alcohol. No,
How much rum is that? How much rum is that? That's the flavor of the cake.
And I put it in the oven, a lot of it burns off anyway. No, but again, I mean, this person said the person sold the up for alcohol because he was an alcoholic and he had a major problem.
Abuse,
major problem.
Yeah, alcohol abuse. Now, Miss McClean, this is one of the things we've been talking about, and this is what confuses the youth. And I don't apologize for saying this. We have the discussion, and there are persons who would always come to make excuses. We have a problem and we are trying to get to the bottom of it. There is increase in crime, and we are trying to see, and we know that there are various aspects, but we are looking at what role does these drugs play in crime, and we are discussing it openly. And of course, we all have our opinions. But we must discuss it. And we cannot sugarcoat it, because it is an issue in our society. And if a child is listening to the discussion, they must hear all of the sides. They must hear all of the sides so that they can make an informed choice. Our children are in some cases not being able to make informed choices because they do not get the full picture. And we are the ones at fault for not giving the full picture. And when we are under pressure by persons, we back off and we, water down certain things instead of, asking the hard question, putting the hard facts out there so that we can save one or two or three, some of them, and not let everyone believe that it is fine. Oh, everyone is not affected. Everyone does not, get addicted. Yes, everybody gets addictive. Some people can control better than others because it's a brain thing. As long as it hits the brain keeps calling for that particular drug. Some people may be strong enough, to resist, but there are others based on their makeup that cannot do it. As we said, the first one for somebody and they are gone. Some people may be using substances and not eating. There's a different
That's correct.
effect. There's a
That's
different
correct.
effect. There's a different effect. There'll be some that using substances and getting all the nutrients and everything else. That's good. But the majority cannot or does not eat well. And that is where
Other complications come in.
Yes, other complications come in. And now, and there are some people who can afford to go and buy it. So they don't have to go and rob nobody to get the money to get it. But there are others now who have no money. And
then there are some middle class or upper class who will pay a poor addict to go into places that they will not go to bed, and they will make sure the person gets a fix. And they do that. I'm looking here at this comment and trying to understand.
And the things they have to do to get that fix.
I am here looking at this comment here by at USA. Right now, marijuana isn't your problem. The plans for the people are by government's plan. I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that the plans for the people or the lack of plans for the people, and you say by governments meaning not one, but previous governments as well? I'm just trying to understand that. But you see, when you're planning, if I understand the comment, marijuana is the problem to the extent that there are negative consequences to the use or abuse of it with those who use it recreationally. What I have said, and unfortunately, maybe the viewer missed my point. I'm saying that one of the reasons why this subject, as you would have heard Carolyn explain what I was intending to look at and what this conversation is seeking to do, is to recognize that as we attempt to understand a phenomenon that is taking place, the level of violence that we are seeing, not only the incidents, but the nature of the violence, the victims of the violence, who they are, the perpetrators, what are some of the demographic characteristics of those? We are saying that as we try to understand that and grapple not only with punishing offenders, but we also have to think in terms of preventing a further escalation of what we are seeing. And part of that is to be able to analyze, for want of some other people will do what we call diagnose, because that's what they're professionally are intended to do. But we need to analyze to understand, because unless we understand, any recommendations or solutions that we may want to put forward may or may not work, because we are probably tackling the wrong thing. So we are not here condemning any particular person or persons, because I think a couple comments might suggest, might have alluded to that. But we are saying, as we look at our society, as we look at our population, particularly our young people, and I do not hesitate to say, I will say it now, particularly our young Black boys and men, young adults, boys and men, that we are seeing a situation where we are losing them either as victims to crime, whether they die or they are maimed. I mean, because we hear about those who die. I saw an article earlier this year talking about the number of people who are left paralyzed and incapable of working and so on, who have received major injury. and who will have to live with that and be dependent on family and the state for the rest of their lives and so on. That is a cost to the society. And therefore, any attempt to understand the various factors which may be playing out in those young people's lives, in any analysis of that to help us to know what it is and seek to reverse or prevent, etc., is important. We're not here labeling anybody. We are not here condemning anybody, because one of the things that I made a note, I think it was Aaron Hunt who had put it there, when he talked about hopelessness and the behaviors that flow from that, which means then that as the comment was made by USA or whatever, I think that was it. What are our plans for the people? And part of any plans that we must put in place would have to have an understanding of what are the positions, the situations, the problems that people have.
What are you fixing?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
you definitely need to know what you're fixing, where it comes from, where is the root, who contributes to it. And I am certain that some people would say, there are people who are benefiting. There are people who I am sure all of us would have heard, people just, hey, come hold these drugs, give me that vote. And all of these things that has been happening in Barbados, and that is so wrong. So
Carolyn, I have to comment when you finish on what I'm seeing here, Pedro, Gemma, and I also have to signal that I have to jump off the program, and I will come back on as if I can, if you need me as soon as I'm finished with it. I have a meeting online. But Pedro, Gemma, 6120. The women raising emotional boys is the problem. Look at the court. What is an emotional boy? I am one of 11 children. My parents raised 6. Well, I had a brother who died as a baby. I never knew him, but there were 6 brothers and 4 sisters. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you mean by an emotional boy. One of the problems that we have is that we have often tried to make men mask their emotions, and then they erupt. So in other words, you tell a boy you ain't to cry, you can't show that you love your mother. I tell my son all the time that I love him. Now, I would agree, Mr. Pedro, that I cannot, as a mother to my son, teach him to be a man, not by myself. I would say I can tell him about how, as a woman, I see what I would like to see in a man. And I've seen, it takes 2 parents, I think, to raise a rounded child, boy or girl.
Yes.
And, and so on. But I don't know when you say emotional. Part of the problem is that if people could show emotions and deal with them. But as I said, Pedro, we need to explain. But I'm going to have Carolyn. I am not sure if your other guest is there. But
they are not here, so I will continue to my segment.
What I will do, you go into yours, and yes. I will monitor as I participate in my meeting. My son always used to tell me he could not understand, but I can multitask, so I will be listening to that meeting. They call them no. This thing about a sissy, that's part of the problem. You see, a lot of men don't know how to show. Either happy or sad or anger or whatever in constructive ways. And that is why we try to make concrete blocks out of males, and that will not work. But I am going to let you do your segment, and I will rejoin you shortly. Yes. Well, depending on how soon. I will signal to Dave when my other meeting is over. But I really must say, I enjoyed working with you this evening, and
thanks for being here. It was enjoyable. You
see, and the thing is, once you get over the first sitting in the chair, it is easy the next time around. So I will hop back on shortly. Okay.
I would appreciate that if you could. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And
No
now
problem.
I'm gonna go on to the next segment, and we are having a look at our borders in Barbados. And the question, it could be a statement, it could also be a question. Our borders are now open. That can be a statement or that can be a question. But I love to ask questions. I love to ask questions. And on hearing about the Barbadians and the Guyanese being able to travel between countries with just the ID card. So we're making movement easier. We're making it easier. So the question is, are we opening up? We would have heard that we were open to those in St. Vincent and Belize and Dominica, that they were all invited. And we heard about some, I think 14,000 or so, that would have already come in that space of time. We don't have the full amount. Dave, you're going to play that for us, and it's there on the screen.
My Minister Jonathan Reed, who is in here, and my good Minister Zulfi, who has been over the last few weeks making sure that we could give the people of Guyana and the people of Barbados a common 60th anniversary birthday gift. And therefore you would have seen that when I landed just now, I was able to use our Trident ID card and be able to have that replace what would otherwise have been a passport. In 1986, 40 years ago, the father of independence of Barbados, Earl Barrow, came to Georgetown to address the CARICOM heads of government meeting. And he delivered a speech that has forever remained in our hearts, that we in the integration movement must follow and make it possible to follow the lived reality of ordinary Caribbean citizens who have integrated even beyond where governments have gone. We feel that this opportunity, permanently so, not in the way that it was done for the single domestic space for Cricket World Cup, but permanently so, should be the gift that all Guyanese and all Bajans remember as a 60th anniversary gift to the two countries. And we trust and pray that others will follow and others will work with us to expand the category of CARICOM citizens who can benefit from this. This is not for full freedom of movement. This is just for passage in your normal rights as a citizen, coming to visit countries. So we hope that in addition to this, that the app which has been developed, which is a Trident Arrow app, and which will eventually be available as well beyond the individual cards, so long as the phones sync with this card, you will also be able to use a smartphone going forward to be able to move between the two countries. This is the best possible gift that we give, not to the executives of the country or not to the heads of the country, but to each and every citizen of Barbados and Guyana. Happy Independence, Guyana. And I look forward to welcoming you all later in Barbados on the 30th of November, when we too shall celebrate 60 years of independence and 5 years as a republic.
Okay, I see we have Apostle Scantlebury. He is in the studio, and I'm gonna invite him in. He's right on time. He will join, and he would speak about the digital ID and the 2030 agenda. And of course, we would include in there the open borders of Barbados. So, Apostle Scantlebury, if you are ready, just let me know if you, yes. Okay. Dave, would you bring Apostle Scantlebury in? Good night, and welcome to the Marcia Big Show.
Yes, ma'am. Good night to you, Madam Caroline. How are you?
I am well, and how are you?
I'm doing great, ma'am. Doing great.
It's just the two of us here.
Yes, well.
But I am sure I know that together we can handle this. So I am going to allow you to go right ahead. We just saw our Prime Minister there with the digital ID, just showing it, and I give you the opportunity to go right ahead with your contribution.
Well, first of all, let me say good night to you again, and to David, Madam Weeks, and Rev, wherever he is on tonight. I want to say blessings, and I want to say good night to all of the members of the loyal opposition, and to those who are joining us from here, Barbados, the region, and around the world. You know, I traverse Barbados, and I meet so many people now that they recognize me from the show. And you know, and I have the chance to talk with them, and you know, they have, you know, so many views on themselves on what can be done to make things better here in Barbados, and I'm really happy that more and more people are becoming vocal regarding these matters that really apply to the people of Barbados. Now, I want to get right into this aspect. Again, the Prime Minister of Barbados has broken the sovereignty of our nation with this digital ID. And I want to share my opinion, because it seems like in Barbados, you can't say anything against this administration. But where is it if you are offering a gift to the people of Guyana on their anniversary of their independence? Why is it that your people don't know about it? Why is it that it is a gift from Mia Motley to Guyana and not a gift from the people of Barbados to Guyana? Okay.
What's in it for the people of Barbados?
Well, you know, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. And really, it's really what's in it for her, not the people, because there really isn't anything in it for the people of Barbados. As a matter of fact, we would have on record that the rollout of the ID card, the Trident ID card, was not favorable. We know that there were many challenges that they had in terms of rolling out this Trident ID card. And yet it is at the point, even with it not being as steady as it needs to be in the country, it is now a point of use for entry into Barbados and into Guyana. Now let me say this. We're talking about following the best practices. Okay? Do you know that the driver's license of Barbados has more information on it than the Trident ID? And do you know that in many cases, Americans were traveling on their driver's license? And I want to explain why this is so important, because the Barbados Labour Party and this administration, you have no right to be sharing or using the public's identification information with no other country other than the fact that they enter via a passport, and that passport is proven to be valid. And I want to say this because it's important for us to understand this. At this point, any person with a level of skill as a hacker or a creator can begin very easily to duplicate both the IDs of Guyana and also Barbados. And the fact is, they have to make it clear what is it that's going to come up on the screen when you visit Guyana with your ID card. What is the information that immigration officer, when you hand over your ID card, what is the information that is going to come up on that screen? Therefore, if by June 1st you can travel to Guyana, it means that this administration has already shared with Guyana your personal information, which is a breach of our sovereignty. I do not understand why there is nobody in Barbados as yet that has come together and asked for the resignation of this administration. And I know there are people who get up there and they talk about, well, if they ask them to resign, who's going to lead the country? Listen, Mayor Motley and those who are with her did not know how to lead a country when they became the government.
Agreed.
There are many of her candidates who were first timers who had no idea what being a minister of government was about. And they had to learn. And we have individuals in Barbados that are more skilled than Miss Motley. We have individuals who are better orators than Miss Motley. We have individuals who are more qualified than Miss Motley. But I'm asking the question, when you travel to Guyana with a Barbados trader ID, what information is going to come up on that screen? She never told us that. And this means if this is going to come in place in a few days, then they have already shared your personal information with the government of Guyana. So this means that if someone is skilled enough, they can create a Guyanese ID, or they can create a Barbados ID, come in to Guyana from Suriname, from Venezuela, from any South American country, or from any country in that world to a point, and then eventually find themselves in Barbados. Because the reality is that once you put personal information out in the public's domain, it can be doctored. And I think that this is why it is so critical for the I don't even want to talk about the Senate, because there seems to be no one in Barbados that's willing, you know, all of these people who are saying, oh, this is a good move. This could never be a good move, and your people don't know about it. So when you're playing games with the people, you're playing games with their sovereignty. You have to ask the question to this administration: when I travel to Guyana on my Trident ID, what information about me comes up on that screen?
What information about me have been given away to another country?
Excuse me. And this is what we're seeing now, that this administration is moving in a way. And I think I brought up on this show that when it comes to the oath of office of the Prime Minister of Barbados in what they're calling a republic, that oath of office only gives her the right to consult with the president of Barbados or anyone who is operating in that capacity at the time, to give her advice to the president. There's nothing about the oath of office for the Prime Minister that makes her accountable to the laws of Barbados, to the Constitution of Barbados, or to the people of Barbados. It doesn't even say, so help me God, which is a verbal contract between the individual and God to carry out their mandate. So what we're seeing here again is a breach of the sovereignty of our people. Don't tell me that I should be happy. Don't tell me that this is moving CARICOM forward, because CARICOM cannot move forward with just one or two countries. This should have been something that was brought to CARICOM in a meeting of CARICOM, and the people should have been enlightened about the fact that there's now a move to use the ID cards of member states for our people to travel throughout the Caribbean. But now you just show up and you are speaking on a public forum saying, oh, we got this in place already, and by June it's going to be in place, you're going to be able to do it. So now we have a situation where you're going to have people coming to Barbados easily. So what is the process of our immigration to deal with persons who are coming to Barbados from Guyana? What is the process? Once you have an ID card from Guyana, you're going to be allowed entry. What are the parameters to deal with this situation? So we see so far that this particular administration is taking matters into their own hands. They don't care about what Barbadians think. They don't care about what Barbadians feel. And this is what this country has got to suffer at the hands of this administration. And this is what our people have to understand. When you go to the polls and you do not understand the process of democracy, and you have a person who steals elections so that they can have a 30-love victory, this is what you're going to get. So we have cases where the Trident ID in Barbados, the rollout of it had serious problems. We don't know whether those problems were fixed, but yet to celebrate Guyana's independence, the president of Guyana and the prime minister of Barbados, they can come together, which means that they had this agreement. They were working on this for quite some time right now. And tell me why the public in Barbados could not have known about this. So I want to make it abundantly clear that some legislative body in Barbados must rise up now and begin to speak on behalf of the people, because there's seriously some level of skullduggery going on in this situation. And I know that the prime minister, she knows that her popularity around Barbados is waning, and these kind of gifts, you know, allows people to come into Barbados and populate Barbados, so that, you know, just in case that one of her ministers decide, you know what, I cannot allow myself to be a part of this type of behavior as a government, and they decide to resign. They need to make sure that they have persons here who love them enough and who are happy about the opportunity to be able to come here so freely. So all of this is a part of that plan, and we know now that even in the last election, all of this coming to Barbados in 6 months, you're able to vote. We know now what that was really all about, even though they were saying that that's not what it's about. And we have so many people in Barbados that in this administration that are just yes people. They don't even know how to say, listen, I can't be a part of this. This is my country. I love my country more than I love a prime minister. And this is where I will say no. This is where I will resign. And this is where I will do my part to protect my people. But something has to be done on a very serious note, because this is a serious breach and disrespect to the sovereignty of the people of Barbados.
I agree with that, and I would say the disrespect continues. The disrespect continues because things are done, and then we are told this is it, effective this date, this is going to happen. Full stop. We don't get an explanation. We get an announcement continuously, and we always have to come after that. We always have to come after and ask questions. We always have to come afterwards and ask questions, and then we look like if we have problems, we don't like the government, but we always have to come and ask questions.
Right.
Now, I heard, I think it was Corey Greenwich. He spoke about it, pertaining to, you do know that when a person is bail, their passport is taken from them, is held. And he
Right.
was saying, but if you hold the passport and they can travel now with just the ID card, they can just skip off and go on to Guyana and run away. And I heard another lawyer push back at him and said, we have things in place, and the court would work with immigration, so they cannot do that. But I asked the question, we are sure that from our end it is so, but what from the end of Guyana?
Correct.
Who are you getting coming in? Do they have the things in place like Barbados is said to have? So we can speak for ourselves, but can we speak for Guyana? Can we say that a criminal whose passport is held by the Guyanese immigration cannot come to Barbados? What systems do they have to prevent them from getting here? Because we're not traveling with an ID.
Correct. Well, the thing that I'm asking is, why is it that they didn't use the driver's license instead of the Trident ID? Okay, because it's just a matter of address. When you travel, your address that is on that driver's license, the driver's license number, your date of birth, your name, and once that number from the driver's license is input into the system there in Guyana, it comes up, this is a valid driver's license of Barbados. Okay, what measures do they have in place to determine that it is a valid Trident ID? So I need to know, and the Barbados Labour Party must tell us what is it and what is the agreement, or what are the agreements that you've made? What is it that you've already sent to Guyana? And what is it that Guyana has already sent here to us? Because the immigration department must have some type of documentation from Guyana right now in terms of Guyanese and their ID cards. So the immigration office here must have access to those individuals' personal information. And what I want you to know is that some of those Guyanese may have gone ahead and pinned their bank account numbers to their IDs, just like some persons in Barbados have done so. So I would like to know exactly what information has been sent to Guyana and what information from Guyana has been sent to Barbados for our immigration office to have access to those individuals who will be coming to Barbados via Grantley Adams International Airport. What procedures are in place to determine that this person with this ID is indeed a Guyanese citizen? I cannot understand how this administration can continue to do these things and overlook consulting with individuals. Why is there nobody in Barbados, no structured body to speak to this administration and let them know you cannot just show up after you have done your deals and tell Barbadians this is what you have to deal with? So this is where it's going to become very, very ticklish. I don't see it working. I actually see more problems showing up, and this is one of the points that I want to make. For those individuals who have a passport. The passport allows you to travel in the name of the president. Where we had the old passports and we were under the old constitution, it clearly stated that this passport allows the bearer of it to travel, and they should not be restricted from entry in the name of the Governor General of Barbados. Now, I think this changed to the President of Barbados. When you travel under an ID card and they have an issue with you in terms of some situation and they take your ID card from you, you better make sure that you have your passport with you. You better make sure, because the moment that you decide you're finished with the passport and you're going to travel on your ID and they grab that ID from you, God knows what can be done to you. So I personally, I don't see it working, because I didn't see any particular structured body in Barbados working out the logistics to make sure it happens. Obviously, they would have to put that in place, but there was nothing said to the Barbadian public. I'm not going to be a part of it for sure, because again, it is a total disrespect to the sovereignty of the people of Barbados to have an administration that believes that whatever we do is right and whatever we do is going to work, and whatever we do, Barbadians should just take it because we know what is best for you guys, and you guys don't know. They have to understand they are not the ones in power. The power belongs to the people. And until we take our power back as the people of Barbados, they're going to continue to do mess like this over and over.
And we should ask the question also, is it a convenience or is it some form of control?
Well, my personal belief is, and let me be permitted to say this from a spiritual perspective. If a leader of a country wants to have supremacy over a nation, and I go back to what Mr. Arthur said in that video that was widely circulated. He said that this current prime minister is listening to certain people, and they have convinced her that she has a divine right to lead Barbados. And that is dangerous. That means at this point it's not a matter of election. Elections will be a sham, but I want complete autonomy over Barbados. You take our flag and you take 12 pieces of wood indigenous to Barbados, which represents the 12 meridians, which represents the 12 gates, spiritual gates governing Barbados, and you go into Ghana with sacred soil and the remains of a Ghanaian slave with the flag draped over it, and you try to make people believe that, you know, this was just a ritual. And then we hear you say this is the year of the return, and the circle has excuse me, and the circle has been completed. I take offense to that because I know exactly what that's about. So step one, elections 2018. Step two, election 2022. Step three, election 2026. So 2026 election now gives you the right to go ahead, because now 3 consecutive elections, 330 loves, almost 3 elections stolen. And you're seeing now a plan that is going out over and over. And this is where I laugh, because I don't understand how on the very day, we're talking about disrespect, on the very day the church is celebrating Pentecost Day, a plane lands here, inaugural flight from Africa to Barbados. You see the level of disrespect that's going on? And that same day, the Rally Club, they're in Barbados. So now you see we're at that level where we can do whatever we want, and the people got to take whatever we're giving. And this is what they were moving towards. So now what I need to do is that I need to set this up so that I can bring into Barbados all of the people that I can bring in to support me and also to protect me. So I have to bring the folk in. I have to open up the borders of the country. I got to bring the Jamaicans in, the Haitians in. I got to bring the Guyanese in. And I'm not against, you know, these different ethnicities. I'm saying that what we are seeing right now is that this administration is beginning the process of, you know, enclosing themselves with the people. So the work is going on already there for the Afro-Exim Bank in that area there on Bay Street. That's beginning. You've got planes coming in from Africa. You've got your borders open now with the Trident ID. And so all of these things are beginning to happen because now we need to enclose ourselves with a different kind of populace other than Barbadians, because I've lost my favor with Barbadians. 70% of the population of Barbados did not come out and vote.
Yes.
Okay, so I need to have people here that are in favor of me, and I have to do all of these things to make sure that I can continue to have a strong grip on the people of Barbados. I have my eyes wide open to what's going on, and I'm hoping that more and more people begin to wake up and realize that right now we do not have a very strong government. We do not have, and they know it, and the walls are closing in. We can see the cracks, and they know that their time is coming to a very quick end. And this is what they have to do to make sure that they're protected.
You know, Apostle, there seem to be a urgency in all of these things. You see all of these hotels going up. People are, you know, speaking out against it, but yet it continues. You see everything that happens. You see the Dominicans and the Vincentians and the persons from Belize coming in. People, the Barbadians have questions, and it still goes through. You see the Chinese, they're on the project and they have their own workers. Barbadians are crying for jobs, can't get jobs, nothing changed. It still continues. And now you're gone and you're allowing now the Guyanese to come in. So it is as if there is an agenda and there is a timeline that we have to get this done by.
Correct. And that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing they're talking about a 2030 agenda, but I've been doing some personal research, and there's a lie about the 2030 agenda. There's a big lie. The agenda is set for 2029. Okay, the 2030 agenda is a throw off. Is actually set for 2029. Okay, and the reason why is set for 2029 is because the people who are at the top of the witchcraft world, who are actually controlling what's going on, there's a certain alignment of the stars and the planets that's coming in 2029. Okay, and this is why things are speeding up. It's not a 2028 agenda. It's not a 2030 agenda. It's a 2029 agenda, because the 9 is the number of birthing. Okay, so I've been looking at, you know, going all the way back into history, looking at certain things, looking at certain timelines, looking at, for instance, Israel becoming a state in 1948, the 8 representing a new beginning. Okay, so these people, they operate on timelines, they operate on symbols. The 0 is not a symbol for them. The 6, 7, 8, or 9, those are the symbols for them. Okay, So one of the things that's very important is for us not to be deceived by what they're telling us. We need to be able to look at what is happening and then zero in by ourselves with adequate information. And I'm a person, I work well with information, with intelligence, so that I can not only position myself, but also position my members properly to help them understand. So the agenda is for 2029, not 2030. The 2030 is the trickery, okay, to put you to think, oh, we got another 4 years. No, all of these things must be done and in place by 2029.
Okay? Also the report is saying the 2030 agenda of the UN is not going to happen. So they're looking at 2035. No.
Right. This administration should not even be looking at 2035 because we have constitutionally due elections.
Yes.
So when you're telling me we're looking forward to 2035, you're saying you're going to be the leader, you're going to be leading the country all that time. See?
It's the UN that are saying, well, look, this has to go into 2035 now because some of the things that they were expecting to happen have not taken place.
Correct.
I believe it was just a front anyway, because the things that they had there, they sounded really well. And, it was mind-boggling that these people would come up with these things. So I am not surprised that they cannot get them to work because it is not the things that they would have been pushing anyway. So alleviating poverty and that kind of no. These people are greedy and all about themselves.
Yeah, all of those things that they're talking about, they're not going to be doing.
No.
Let me say this: COVID and this administration's part in COVID was a major setback for Barbados.
Yes.
Okay, because Barbados did not accomplish any of the goals that were set up for them for 8. Okay, COVID deaths, vaccinations, none of that. Barbados. Actually, I was the one that alerted Barbados to the fact that this administration did not put any information on the Johns Hopkins website when I was sharing with them what the Lord told me and what he said to let the nation know about this situation. And now we're realizing that all of the key players who were there that went into the wall of silence after we started seeing the effects of what was happening, they're now back to continue the assignment that's been given to them. But it's not going to work again because we're going to push back harder than they can ever imagine. We're going to push back so hard, and it's going to be different this time because it's going to be many taker you farson. It's going to be weighed in the balance and fun warning. So it's going to be a different scenario this time around.
I heard that. There's the second time I heard that for the day.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm just saying that. Again, we need a body in Barbados right now. We need to construct and formulate some level of people in Barbados to speak to this administration to come together. If we don't have an opposition, then we have to create an opposition of the people who don't sit in parliament. But when we speak, whether that body is made up of key persons from each parish or whether it's made up of 30 persons from each constituency that is able to sit and to have regular press conferences and speak to the public about the activity and the operation of this administration, because they seem not to care about Barbadians. They seem not to care about Barbadians at all. And I do not understand. Yeah, so that's why it's critical to understand as a leader. And just now, we're going to be shutting the gates in Barbados. So I don't know what they think is going to happen here this time around. They need to understand the Lord is with us. The Lord is on our side.
Yes.
And we're going to shut these things down, and we're going to get each person, because what you have to understand about and why these witchcraft people are in around the world, because so many people don't understand the earth itself. That's why the Bible talks about a new heaven and a new earth, and that's why the workers of witchcraft can operate so easily, because both the earth itself and the seas of the earth, they're both cemeteries. And that's why the Bible says the sea will also give up her dead.
Right. Yes.
See?
Yes.
So they understand that the earth itself and the waters around the earth carries information of tragedies and things that happen. The waters of the Atlantic carries the information that happened during slavery, what they did with the slaves, who they threw overboard, who they threw to the sharks. It has all of that information. Water is the greatest conductor of electricity. It carries memory. It carries memory. And if you remember what they took up to Ghana, they said they took sacred soil, soil that they took from a burial ground in Newton with the remains of a slave, sacred soil. So they took something of the earth up there. Okay.
Apostle, I just take a pen there. They opened the tomb. The first thing they did was open the tomb, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you open the tomb, what comes out? There's some things, you see, their intent may be to get the soil that was in there, the physical soil, but they did not see the spirits that were released when that tomb was opened. And if you look at the land of Barbados now,
yes,
you will agree with me that there's something spiritual affecting our children and our youth, our land on the whole.
The land.
Yes.
The land.
It's affecting. It's affecting us.
Yeah.
Because of the opening up of that tomb.
Yeah.
Release some stuff.
Yeah. And I think they don't understand even why when the church prays now, the crime increases. And that is so critical for us to really realize what is happening.
Yes.
So I'm saying that with all of these measures that are put in place, and you're hearing all of these things that are being said, and coming to the place. And that's why I laughed when I heard Mr. Jordan's deliberation about the rollout of the $5 million. It's always putting it back. They're always putting it back. You came into power since February of this year. This is May. That's in your manifesto. You're telling me that you now have to put things in place to make sure that that money is rolled out, and we got to wait until July now. They're going to keep putting it back because that money is only going to go to the churches that they want it to go to. That's how that's going to play out. You see? So it comes to the point where this administration has gotten to the point where it does not care about proper operation. It does not care about what the people think or what the people feel. It has their little watchdogs that when they do something and somebody comes online and says, we don't support this, they have little people to come and say, oh, this is a stroke of genius. This is really good. I really applaud this, and I really did this, and I really do the next. But the reality is that the country, they know the country is falling apart. They know that the country is falling apart. And all of these little things, and I think there's a lot more that you're going to begin to see, you can begin to understand how these levels of operation that's coming, from this administration to the people of Barbados, the disrespect for the sovereignty of our people to be involved in the decision-making process of this country, to say, yes, we want this, or no, we don't want it. But there's nothing. All you're hearing is, okay, on the 1st of June, on the 7th of July, this is what is going to be happening. On the 8th of August, this is what's going to be happening. So the people have no say in their country. So the question that has to be asked, who is controlling the Prime Minister and the Barbados Labour Party? Who are the people calling the shots, telling them what to do? Whose agenda are they carrying out? Because it certainly isn't their agenda, because they did not have anything like this about the Trident ID in their manifesto. So whose agenda are they carrying out? Is it somebody outside of Barbados that's controlling them? Is it Mayor Motley's agenda? Whose agenda? Because it definitely isn't the people of Barbados' agenda.
Is it an entity? What is it? I heard you made a statement earlier. The church, when the church prays, crime increase. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Seriously.
Explain that one.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say as from a spiritual perspective. The text that people talk about so much. If my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. That scripture is not for the nation. The people who are called by the name of the Lord are the priests.
Yes.
See, you come back to Joel. Joel tells us, let the priests weep. Let the priests weep, not the people.
Yeah.
Let the priests weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Lord, spare our people, save our people. Hosanna. So when you do not understand that I cannot align myself with the problem, which is the administration as a man of God, and then ask God to change the situation, because I am now in agreement with the problem.
Oh, okay.
I am blessing the problem.
Okay.
I'm speaking well of the problem.
Oh, okay.
So I can't speak to the principality, because the principality is working through the government, and you are in agreement with the government.
Okay.
So the principality is going to say, "Come on, put that mic down, get your behind off that."
You have no effect.
You have no effect. The spirit of God knows that.
Okay, I understand. I understand you know.
Okay, so while you're praying, they're going to shoot you. The next day, 2 more people are shot. You prayed yesterday.
Okay.
So, and we had a gentleman today that got killed in his vehicle.
Yeah. Oh, I understand. I understand what you are saying.
Yeah. So
in other words, effectual fervent prayer of righteous man availeth much.
Okay.
Yes.
And they will be angry with you because you're trying to explain.
You must have clean hands.
Yeah. They don't understand why we can't stop crime. I mean, we can stop crime as praying people. We can stop it as people of God, but the prayer must be right.
Yes.
See, what we have to pray
it is possible. It is possible, though.
It is possible, but we have to pray. Yeah, we have to pray against the person through whom the Spirit is working through. You see?
Yes.
So whether the person is in the seaport, at the airport, in government, at the central bank, at, you know, wherever, whoever that person is that the Spirit is working through in the nation, we need to pray for that person to be exposed and removed, or God takes them off the scene. Because when that person is gone, that spirit has no body to work through.
Okay. I'm getting what you say. We have a question here. So my question to you: how do we help those that have been deceived already?
Okay, so we have to let's deal with this in relation to where the Bible speaks about where the church is supposed to be, so that the church takes her position. Yes. The word church or assembly is the Greek word ecclesia, ek and klasso. Okay, so it called out people, a call out class of people that are designed to create policy or make policy on behalf of the city. Okay, if the government is making policy and the church is agreeing with the policy of the government, and that policy is marginalizing the people and opening doors and gates of spirits to our nation, and the church, or who they call the church, whether it's the BEA or the BX or whoever, they are in agreement with that, then the enemy will have power over the nation. If the church gets together, the bishops of Barbados, they get together and they formulate a policy and they present that policy to the government, then there's a shifting of power. And because a lot of our leadership does not understand, the power is shifting, but you are giving up your power to the government. You have to take your power back from the government. And because we don't understand that this power shift has taken place, where people love the government, they support the government, they pray for the government, they bless the government, until we understand we have to take our power back from the government, and this is our policy. So if you're bringing policy to unite LGBT and support them, then you have a sworn statement from the New Testament Church of God in Christ, Church of God of Prophecy, Church of God of Holiness, Church of God of Faith in God, Church of God Reformation, Catholic Church, Anglican Church, Nazarene Church, Wesleyan Church. You got all of these. This is our document to you. And we say we want you to follow this. Now, if you're going to follow the UN's agenda and you're going to override the church's agenda, then our next agenda is to move you. So the church in Barbados must first take back its power from the government. That is the main element. We must take back our power from the government. Understand, I am a man of God. I'm not sent by you, I'm sent by God. And if the Lord tells me step away from you, I step away from you.
Yes.
If the Lord tells me do not support you, I don't support you.
You are correct there.
See,
yes.
So as a man of God,
I see our guest for 9:30. One is in the studio. So
yes, ma'am.
You can do our wrapping up here. You can stay on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am. As well. Go right ahead, Apostle.
Yeah,
you can continue.
So as I was saying quickly, what for me as a man of God, I keep my power between me and the Lord, not between me and the government.
Exactly.
Okay, and I will never give up my place or give up my power to a prime minister or president, because the office of president and the office of prime minister are lower than an apostle, and I will not play that game with them ever.
Yes. And it goes back to say, if the people know their God, they will do great exploits.
Exploits. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That is so true. I would also say there may be, in fact, there are some people whose prayers are making a difference because
Yes,
it
ma'am.
could have been worse.
Yes, ma'am.
No, it could have, so their prayers are making a difference.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
there's a need for a coming together, a united front
Yep.
of God's people.
Yep. Yep. The prayer must be specific, as in
Yes.
Joel, they were told, let the priest mourn, let them stand between the porch and the altar, and let them, you gather the people, but let the priest mourn between the porch and the altar, and let them ask the Lord to spare the people. So the prayer must be specific. Must not have 15 people praying different things.
Different things.
No.
Okay. Unity. I thank you so much for that contribution. So
Yes,
tonight
ma'am.
we've been looking at various ways. We had Miss McClean, and she was, we were looking at the role that drugs were playing and trying to, see what can be done there. And now you have come and you have given your contribution, and you've ended with giving the spiritual aspect of it, which is so important because we see a lot of spiritual things happening in Barbados. And therefore, we have to put on our spiritual caps.
Yes, ma'am.
In order to deal with what we see. And I thank you for that contribution.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I am seeing Ramon Goodman. He is here. If you are ready, yes, you are here, and you are going to come and you are going to speak about Shine Barbados. Yeah. You're going to update. Okay, we also have Jamal.
As well.
Yes, Jamal Sandiford is here. And
hi, good evening.
Good night. Good night.
Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. And I know that you guys are ready and rearing to go. You're going to give an update of what is happening with Shine Barbados. Last time as I watched, I saw you had some young artists there, and I was impressed. I really was impressed. So I want you to share, update us on what is happening. Go right ahead.
All right, well, good night to everybody. Good night to all the viewers on the market.
Good night.
Everyone can hear me?
Yes,
yes, sir.
You.
Excellent. It's all about Shine Barbados. As we know, we bring in, it's a place where all creatives come. They come to display their talent. They come to showcase, what God has given to them. So, we're always thankful to be in a position, to find a space in which the creatives can come and perform. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow Jamal Sandiford. He is going to give an update where the show is concerned. Right. So over to you, Jamal.
Good evening once again. So what's happening is we had started to put implementation in place. We had just about everything started, the event location booked. We had the cost cap and everything sorted out. We had the artists, we had promotional content, we had the tickets and everything in order. And then our fiduciary told me that he got an update from one of the sponsors. And for the sake of keeping that discretion, I don't want to state what entity they are, but they're kind of giving us an update that they will not be able to have the funds ready for us to finish specified time that we had recommended. So what that did is put us in a very tough situation. And so we had to decide to reschedule or postpone to further notice. It was a bit of a disappointment. We had everything set in place, and the money for the first prize, second prize, and third prize that we were supposed to receive, it's not going to be there. So to avoid any disappointment or any further disappointment for the level of passion has been displayed so far, we have to decide to make this tough call. So far, we've received other interests reaching out to us and stating that they'll be willing to help assist us with another location and even more financing. So until then, we would have to postpone it to further notice. So I know it's a bit of a letdown.
Okay.
And the reality of it is that, when these things do happen, there's another opportunity to continue to level up, right? And I'm gonna let everyone know something else bigger and better is coming. Something
Yeah.
else bigger and better is coming. We will not stop. To be continued. We
Yes.
will not stop. Right? We continue to be in communication with the talent and so forth. And whenever we're ready to obviously put ourselves in a position to continue with the show or whatever the case and what we decide to do going forward, they are ready and ready to go. And by that time, I can assure you there'll be more interest from all stakeholders, right? So we didn't want to put on a show and it's at subpar level and so forth. So sponsorship was needed at a serious level. And there's no way we're going to go on with the show without that level of sponsorship, as we want to make sure that when the creatives perform, that they are rewarded sufficiently, right? So, no subpar presentation we were looking at. So when we realized that the sponsorship didn't come true at that particular time, we decided no, we want to make sure that the talent is rewarded in a serious way, and we don't fall short in regards to the reward. So we decided to just reschedule to further notice. But in the meantime, we are in communication with some more stakeholders, some people who are
Yes.
looking to come together with us, and we'll be given another update very, very, very soon, right? But as we said, we love the creatives, and we expect more people to come on board as time goes on, and you can be seeing and hearing from us very, very soon again.
Now,
Okay.
I want to commend you all, young gentlemen. I want to commend you all for not giving up, one, and continuing to fight for the positives in spite of all of the closed doors that
Yeah,
are being, the doors are being closed in your face, the spokes that are being put in your wheels, the opposition that you are getting. And I want you to understand, and do not take it personal.
yeah,
Not take it personal as if you have failed to do something. The level of opposition
yeah,
or the spiritual forces that are coming against you guys, and I'm very plain, and Apostle, I know that you can agree with me on this. These spiritual forces that are coming, that has been coming against you, not now, from the time you stood up and say, I am going to be a candidate for the Democratic Labour Party. In other words, you were opposing this
Yes.
this realm. That's what I would call it. Automatically, the forces were going against you, and it is like, how dare you think that you can come and bring something positive and be successful in Barbados? I don't want to say all hell has broken loose against, but all hell would have been fighting against you. And
Yeah.
I want you all to continue to stay strong. Do not give up.
yeah,
Do not give up. Stay in. Don't give up. Do not see it as that you have failed. Do not even think about embarrassment. Don't go there. Understand what is happening and what you are up against. Young, positive men. who can stand up at this time and go against the norm or go against whatever lots of people dare not go against.
The reality of it is that we are very aware of what we're up against, and no fear, God up front all the time. As we continue, as we push forward, this is not the end, to be continued all the time. I continue to speak to Jamal and Damien and and Dale and so forth, and we will continue. We will not stop. Right? We were just a little disappointed on behalf, obviously, where the creators were concerned, because we were looking for it. But the reality of it is, again, this is not the end. It is to be continued. To be continued. Right?
Yes,
to be
and it can get better, and can only get better.
I believe it definitely will be better.
Yes.
It definitely will be better.
Yes.
Can I ask you guys? Can I ask you? Obviously, you would have set a budget for the event. Has that budget been reached for the totality of the event, or are you still in the process of reaching out to possible vendors?
Yeah,
we are definitely in the process of reaching out.
That is correct, right?
Okay.
And we would have sent a proposal to one of the sponsors and so forth, and we were obviously told that they aren't able as yet to come forward, right? And talk, right? So that was the little impediment. But again, that's just a little roadblock. We will continue to push through. All of these barriers and jump over all these barriers and so forth, because it is all about those creatives, the young creatives. And as Barbados in the way it is now, with all the violence and so forth, you have a set of young, creative, positive people, and we really want to see them on display doing positive things. So you must know, and I'm confident that this will go on, right? This will go on and be continued every single day, right? And so
this add a bit to Ramon's statement. This is all about giving these young people a chance. We understand that so many young people have harsh backgrounds. So many young people don't have the opportunity to actually make financing from their skills, from their talents, and a lot of them actually throw their dreams by the wayside because of life. Sometimes you may have to find that job instead of funding your passion. And that is what Shine is aspiring to do. We're trying to give people that chance so that every single participant could receive something and know that, hey, you know what? These four young gentlemen, and by extension, all of our supporters, value your gift. We want to see you on the right track, and that's why we're trying to pave the way for you. We're trying to create a space or a lane for you to channel and forward on your path where your passion and your talent is concerned. We want to give people the opportunity to shine, and that's what we're looking at doing. So whether it's going to be 2 months from now, 3 months from now, we want that when we give them that chance that they could appear on that stage, the stage is well decorated, we have the funding necessary, we have a crowd that is willing to accept them and to see what they can do. This is going to be magical, almost magical. God is going to work his magic, and we are going to have the chance to give people what they truly deserve.
Receive that. Very good. Receive that.
And I can say, I commend you all. I have watched your careers in standing up in the Democratic Labour Party. The four of you, I call them the four young men. Daniel, Shadrach, Misha, and Abednego. That's what I call you guys.
Thought you were going to say the four horsemen.
I know.
I don't know that's the best reference.
I know, yes.
Apostle, I'm not sure that's the best reference.
Yeah, that you got right. I know very well about the four horsemen.
No. Daniel, Shadrach, Misha, and Abednego.
I grew up with the WWE, and they have some guys called the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, I know those.
Blanchard and Ric Flair and those guys.
Flair. Yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
yeah,
the kid we're speaking. No,
okay, I
from that
understand.
angle.
It makes sense. It makes sense now.
yeah.
I get it now.
Yes, sir.
I was
So,
wondering, Apostle.
Yeah. Not the biblical horsemen. That's
well,
that's
yeah.
that group from back in the day, you know.
Right.
Understandable.
Yes, sir.
So we know that you all will come. You will come through. You will come through, and they shine Barbados. Keep that topic. It's appropriate.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
is appropriate, and in due time it shall come to pass. It shall come to pass.
We received that as well, huh? We received that. We received that.
Yes.
And we appreciate that. We appreciate the motivation is going to continue to
Yes.
encourage us to go forward in this path
Oh yes,
the
we'll be
strongest way
there.
possible.
We'll be there behind the scenes, encouraging you, promoting you, speaking life to you,
Yeah.
and everything that is needed. Because I watched the program when you had those young men there,
Nice.
and I saw they were ready and rearing to go.
Yeah.
And I noticed the variety. And I think you had a Jamaican in between there
That's
as well.
correct.
Yes,
Indeed.
we did.
Indeed. We did.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was.
No,
It
we
was
did.
all
No, we did. We do. We do.
But we
Not
do. We
did.
do.
right.
We do.
We
It was
do.
all inclusive. And I know that was just a sample. And I was saying, if they have attracted these people, wow, they can do, much more. They can do great things. And how those young men spoke, and not only how they spoke, how you, the four of you, here they are. Those men were ready, are rearing to go. Looking for opportunity. You want to play that, Dave?
As a person, part of the Shine Barbados Town, trying to come to give a little piece of my talent. It's like I built into the bone. This rock is my home. This is the kind of place that spiritual form for. You must come here and see it on your own. But make no mistake, but this isn't land or just sand and sea. But within our shores, you'll find people with the highest capacity. I mean, you're looking at one of them who's been blessed creatively, and although we come with a lot of audacity, they're just due to our natural tenacity. We're people blessed by His highest majesty. Listen, that sounds so sweet. It just rolls off the tongue. Some people say it sounds like a song. Best place to hear is somewhere in town where you have a venison cucumber. $2 for a pound. Come up to George Auditorium. Big up.
There you have it.
Excellent.
There you have it. And I am certain, this is what in this climate it seemed to be suppressing. But the time shall come. The time shall come. That the young, strong men in Barbados will no longer be suppressed. Those that seek to do the positive the time will come when they will no longer be suppressed, and they will shine.
Yes.
The Barbados will shine Barbados. I'm playing on the words.
Correct.
And here's another young man. Go ahead, Dave.
I said rum is water. One more gonna get slaughter. Malibu get slaughter. I gonna jack down someone. Hi, what's up? What's going on? It's the ladies Montreal Casa inviting you to Shine Barbados, May 2nd, Joshua Auditorium. Witness me there. Perform me a medley of songs. I'll see you soon.
Excellent.
Wow.
Well,
And the reality of it is the talent they're coming with original sounds.
yeah.
All
so
original.
not any
And
songs
some
that
of
they're
them are
covering.
first time artists.
Yeah, the cover songs, they're coming with original songs. So I mean, the talent is out there. We just have to continue to try to find the talent each and every time. That's what the show is about. And notice I'm saying what it is about and I'm not saying what it was about because it will come to pass. It will happen.
Still is.
Right? Yes,
Correct. And you know what I also found as well? I also found that Ramon brought a key point. He said that we continue to find the talent. But even more so interesting is that the talent have been finding us for the past 2 weeks. They've been finding us. They've been reaching out to us. Because you know what? There's not many opportunities that are offering what we are willing to provide for them. So it is something that really shows you that there's a market for this in Barbados. These young men, these young women, they need our support. And they continue to show their interest. So we are going to continue to go to hand and back for them. We are going all out for them.
And Jamal, I don't know if you want to say, but you had actually offered, to assist the talent as well too. Even knowing that the show was not going to be this weekend, you had also offered to assist the talent as well. Otherwise, I don't know if you want to communicate that.
Well, after this next video,
let's just hear what
them.
Of course.
Let's just hear what Dave has here on the screen. Go ahead, Dave.
I like your aura. The body explorer. It's a girl, Shali, and I'll be performing at Shine Barbados Talent Show, bringing my debut single, Aura, to the stage. Come and support local talent. It's going to be an amazing show. Don't you miss it. Come feel the aura.
Wow.
Excellent.
As you said, previously, Ramon.
Amazing show.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Yes.
In the meantime, I have contacted the artists and I have told them that in any way, in terms of content creation, management, any sort of promotion, I will assist them. If they have any music videos that they need assistance with, I was going to provide that because what has happened was unfortunate. However, I don't want to let it start to decrease our network, our relationship. I want it to help to drive it further. So any way could assist them. Some have reached out to me and said that they want some assistance with music videos. That will be done. Some want more promotional videos to help with their branding. That will be done. Right. So it is just about making sure that we can provide for them as much as possible and keep to our word.
Excellent. Now this young man here, Jamal Sandiford, right? He is extremely humble. But I want the viewers to know that he is multi-talented. He can DJ, he gets into graphics, he can do posters. This young man, I call him a productive octopus. He has many talents, right? And he's humble.
And he can cook.
Yes, and he can cook.
That is true.
Yes, I remember that part.
Thank you. He can cook. He is multi-talented, an excellent young man. Excellent young man. So I know he doesn't say much about it, but he is a creative. I call him the second best creative in the group because I always say that I am the best. But I get some fun with him, But he is excellent. Excellent. The videos you see and so forth, he's behind those videos. When I go to the constituency, this young man, he is behind. But he doesn't like to say it, but I'm going to say it here tonight on the Marcia show. He is excellent. Excellent young man. A brother. No doubt about it.
No, Ramon, you didn't have to say that, The very fact that this young man was up against
there we go.
the prime minister in the election. That alone tells you the character of this young man. That alone tells you something about this young man. I love to see the camaraderie between the four of you. I love to see it, and I don't want you to lose it. Keep that going. Keep that going.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's your strength. Don't let no one break it. Don't let nobody whisper in your ears and make you feel it is better. The grass is greener on the other side. Keep that going. keep that going. Keep the positive vibes. Keep encouraging person. Keep scouting for talent. Keep uplifting persons. Yes. Here we have Dale Rowe, another one of the, they had the Fabulous Four. Yeah.
Yes, hey, Fabulous Four.
Yeah, that sounds better.
The Fabulous, yes, we had the Fabulous Four. Yes, we had the Fabulous Four. That was a series.
We had the what was it?
Famous Five and Fabulous Four. I think
it was a Fantastic Four.
Yeah, there's a Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Well, fabulous, fantastic, yes. But keep it going, and keep those vibes. Keep positive. And we are looking forward to a bigger and a better Shine Barbados.
Indeed. No doubt about it.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes. And I hope the date is one that I can attend as well. I was going to miss all 2 of those dates.
Previous dates.
Yes.
God does it in mysterious ways.
It's true. It's true, no doubt about it.
It's the same way that I was going to miss, other persons would have been missing.
God
so
knows.
we are going to make sure, and I wouldn't make sure you have things in place. There's something about these sponsors in Barbados. There's something about it. Yes, here goes Fanas. Yes, another member of the Fabulous Four with a positive story, a story to encourage the youth and to have a positive influence. All four of you. And I'm saying, don't come down. Don't come down. Keep on building. Keep on building. People might be saying, what are they trying to achieve? Keep on building those walls. You're gonna succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We definitely appreciate it. We appreciate the continued support.
Yes,
on the TV show. We really appreciate it.
Yes, continue to encourage and motivate us.
Yes, even when you have your dark days and your challenges, when you come on the show, you have Marcia, have the viewers and so forth, giving those words of encouragement.
Ramon, just a second. There's a lady who's asking for the Shine Barbados social media handle. We have changed the name of the page, and it's now Axiom Lux Management. That is a business that we have created so that we could do this more frequently instead of a one-off event. So we have changed the name to Axiom Lux Management. You will see all the videos that we have showcased. Well, Marcia has showcased recently on the page as well.
Okay, what we can do as well. So I guess we could. I don't know if there's a way we can just get some Marcia for the next show, and so she can share it accordingly.
Correct.
Right?
And I'm sure that Marcia would have you guys on the show from time to time.
Of course.
Yes, updating us as to what is happening, because we're going to be listening up.
Of course.
Yes, we're going to be listening up for the new date.
Yeah.
And as soon as we have it, we would definitely we announce it here. We will announce it here.
First place to announce it will be on the Marcia show.
Yes, we have a drum roll.
Could be a show. Could be a show.
So we're with you, and we continue to pray for you. We continue to wish you well. I say, Julie Fan Clark said it's going to happen, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
A lot of positive, a lot of positive things that they are saying of you. So we appreciate
Thank you, Pauline.
Good night, Pauline.
We appreciate you so much. And someone has said delay is not denial.
Right.
It's true.
Correct.
Understand that we are supporting you. We stand beside you. You know, we stand underneath you and hold you up. We hold your hand. If we have to stand on top and pull you, we will pull you, we will push you, we will walk with you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We appreciate that. We receive that.
Truly appreciate your assistance.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Someone say to Jamal or Ramon, keep going forward in your endeavors.
We shall.
We will. Thank you so much.
We're
We
not
will.
going to let you step back. We're not going to let you step back. Yes, so we will listen out for you. And we thank you for coming on the show and updating us.
Of course.
Yes.
We truly thank you. Huh? We truly thank you.
Yes. Do you want to give your final words, Apostle?
Yes, ma'am. Well, listen, it's great to see you guys here on tonight. You know, obviously as a minister, I have to step in the Bible and leave a little scripture with you.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah tells us in chapter 60, he says to arise and shine, for the light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. So I want to encourage you guys to, you know, whatever you're doing, put the Lord first. He reminds us to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, Matthew 6:33, and all things will be added onto you. He's not designed or created you for failure or frustration, but success and victory. So I want to leave those scriptures with you and offer you the help of the Lord to bring your desire in this event into full fruition and manifestation. So I just want to let you know that prayers are with you, and we look forward to the Lord helping you to make this happen so that others can be blessed by it. So you guys be encouraged, stay strong, let the Lord lead you and guide you, and he'll open doors for you that you can't even dream or imagine. So that's my final words tonight. God bless you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Apostle. We appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you all for coming on the show, participating. Thank you, Apostle Scantlebury, for staying the time with me. Maxine McClean, she has been here with me, and I thank her as well. And I want to wish all of us a good night. Sleep peaceful.
Yes, ma'am.
Blessings.
Good night.
All right, thank you so much.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
Opposition.
Thank you.
Good night. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Righteousness exalt a nation, this the Bible say. For this we all must take heed, for we have a part to play. One and all must come together for the love of country. Cause what happens here at home will affect you and me. And the Lord has been the people's kind for the past 300 years. It came still on our side, we have no doubt some fails. Many a problem and situation we will have to face. All we need to do is work together and we can finish the race with grace. Come let me build this country together. We must build it brick by brick, and every challenge we'll face it. This is the strength of a nation. If we put all hands to the plow, no turning back, no stopping us. No, yes, we must put in the work, and from it we should assure. Let me start before too late. Every man must pull his weight, cause we are all crossing up our faith. Yes, we are all crossing up our faith. Oh, yeah, yeah. whole country should be building, but some are not on board. Few doing the heavy lifting, carrying all the load, while a certain set of people living a lavish life. Another set struggling hard, barely getting by. Was my lesson in the hours after I just yet a pay increase, and raising the price of food so I get in less groceries. If you lower the cost of living and don't bother about your profit, it will surely allow the underprivileged to make it. Make it. Come, let me build this country together. We must build it brick by brick, and every challenge we'll face it. This is the strength of a nation. If we put all hands to the flow, no turning back, no stopping us. No, many hands make light work. We must put the hand to the dirt. All progress we can't stagnate. Solutions we must create, cause we are all crossmen of our faith. Yes, we are all crossmen of our faith. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. The country can't build together if there is a divide. We must put our political differences aside. Our policies cannot benefit a certain few. Once you living in Barbados, we should benefit too. And we can't allow our standards to keep going down the drain, cause that would mean our forefathers give their lives in vain. We must stop our young men from destroying our land. The whole society must come together against that and take a stand. Take a stand. Come, let we build this country together. We must build it brick by brick, and every challenge we'll face it. This is the strength of a nation. If we put all hands to the plow, no turning back, no stopping us. Now better shall our nation grow. A better today, bright tomorrow. Now is the time to elevate our nation we celebrate, cause we are all craftsmen of our faith. Yes, we are all craftsmen of our faith.